Good evening, folks. Triple Crown here, coming to you from Vancouver, British Columbia. This is a round 14 summary of the Global War 1939 series, playtest number 5 on the eve of Canada Day. Canada Day is July 1st, and Triple Crown has another bike race tomorrow, another 100-kilometer bike race. So getting prepared for that and getting prepared to go on holidays with my family. So I'm very happy to I think this is the final round, or we'll get into the reasons why, but the Allies were successful in actually, let's go over here, in taking back Hong Kong, Shanghai, South Asia represents Singapore, and they did not lose London. So this leaves the Axis with 11 victory cities. They need 12 for a victory, which is not enough. And in round 15, there is no chance for a absolute victory. So we're going to call it an Allied victory here. Well, what happened in round 14? And the Allies, after the fall of the Japanese Navy, which was huge. If the Commonwealth and the British and the Canadians had not done a can opener on the Japanese fleet, the Allies would not be able to do what they had done. So what did they do? Well, the British, this is the British fleet. It was all sitting here last turn. Well, they went a couple spaces up here, and the British naval transports that were sitting here, they're at a naval base, they went 1, 2, 3. And so they did a landing in Hong Kong, and they survived with 1 armor, and they lost a couple aircraft doing it, but it was their aircraft that punched the way through. The Japanese were defending with a fortress and about almost 17 or 18 ground units, and the British attacked with about 16 ground units of their own, and all of their aircraft with a close-to bombard of, their battleships and cruisers. And so that was, and the Japanese actually rolled quite well. They had a couple fighters there as well in defense. So yeah, it was the Lancasters that, and with the tactical bomber and fighters that came through. And this was the whole Air Force that came actually from Cairo. And this was the whole Navy that was in the Mediterranean. So it served a purpose. It was not going to be able to defend Cairo, and it was able to, rather than defend and lose everything, help the Allied cause in the capture or recapture or liberation of Hong Kong. So that was significant, and they left just at the right time, where the Germans and the Italians had committed a lot of resources to take Cairo back. So that is not to, maybe a little strategy there that if you're going to lose the victory city, maybe those forces can leave and go do something else. Well, the Americans came down from Shanghai, 2 spaces, 1, 2. And so this Navy here, with all of these aircraft, they all hit Singapore, and they hit it hard, and they only lost about 6 ground units, and they killed about another 20 Japanese ground units in a fortification. Maybe it was more like 15 or 16, but they survived with quite a bit of stuff. I'm going to say about 13 units of their own. And they also, the transports that could not reach, took back Saigon and also a walk-in in French Indochina. So that was the final nail in the coffin for the Axis. Pretty much all of the mainland of Japanese-controlled territories has been liberated by the Russians, and the Russians have taken back all of the Japanese-controlled Russian territories up here in the sort of Eastern Russian territory, or Eastern Russian region. The KMT is sort of spreading out now. They did go into Burma, and the Italians took it back. And sometimes there's a little sideshow up here. So the Russians killed the small German contingent that was sitting here. They survived with 1 armor, and the Italians with their heavy bomber here in Kashmir came up to take it out, because if they did, the Germans would have been able to blitz through and kill the ragtag of about 6 Russians sitting there in Novosibirsk, but it went actually 2 rounds, and the heavy bomber actually missed 6 dice rolling at 4 and missed them all, and so the surviving tank is going to be a blocker for 1 more round. Calcutta is safe. This German Navy is currently sitting in this sea zone right here. The Italian transports all left. America stopped building over here in the Pacific. They don't need to anymore. And the Commonwealth, Anzac are getting ready with a medium bomber and a air transport and a airborne. The only airborne the Allies have in the game to, basically maybe go grab another money island this turn. The Italians have taken back all of their original territory, so that's a nice bonus from them. I think they're making 56 IPP. They control a lot on the board. The British here, they've got a small contingent, as the Germans up here in Russia continue to head west. But this stack, depending on if this game was to go longer, this stack of armor units, which is about 15 that's pretty significant. Instead of going to Novosibirsk, which maybe is a good play to finally, put an end to the Russians, could detour down here to Calcutta, because the Allies are 2 turns away. And if those armor units are able to reach Calcutta would probably be safe for the game. So that's what's happening there. And the battle for London, thankfully the Americans and the Canadians came to the rescue of the British just at the right time. So the Allied fleet up here died just off the coast of Scotland, and that was with surviving an aircraft carrier loaded with a battleship, a couple cruisers, destroyers, and the Germans lost all of their submarines. And then the Americans came across over here just to sort of put up a little bit of a basically target for the Germans to sort of deal with. They did build more navy. They built another carrier battleship and another bunch of submarines, but when the British went, they built a couple blockers. So they've got a destroyer sitting there kind of tucked in, you can kind of see, and another destroyer here. And destroyers in this game, they block 2 naval units, so a little bit of a distraction, but the Italians with their medium and heavy bomber wanted to sink them, and they actually rolled poorly. The British scrambled in both sea zones. They scrambled 2 fighters in one and one in another, and they were successful. So this was the most unsuccessful Italian bombing raid that I can recall. So they did not meet their objective, and so currently the Germans did build some naval transports. They've got one kind of hidden there, as you can see, and they've got 3 more they built off of Stettin, and another one here in Finland. So these naval transports are about 2 turns away from doing anything, and even if they bring all their transports and all of their aircraft, which is about 8 aircraft, it will not be enough to dislodge the British from London. And the Americans and the Canadians over here did do another build. So the Americans built a couple B-17, so they are ready to come across with a battleship, a couple destroyers, and about 5 or 6 submarines, and the Canadians as well. So even if the Germans are successful in dislodging the Americans, the Americans are just sort of playing a game of seesaw and forcing Germany to build navy instead of building naval transport. So that is why the Germans would not be able to take back London, never mind the 50 or so units that are sitting in London. So that is the end of the game. I'm going to call it here. This has been a lot of fun. What did I learn? Did I learn? Well, the Allies have actually won most of the games he's played, and I'm going to have to evaluate, is this because whenever I play, little secret that sharing with you guys, I always want the Allies to win, even if I'm the Axis player. It just feels that the Allies need to win. So do we have to tweak things a little bit more to give the Axis a bit more of an edge? or is it my mind playing tricks on me? So, but if I can tell you that if Gargantua was the axis, I would have lost, because that's I still feel the game is balanced enough that the better player should win most games. So, gonna talk to CB's Bill and Hilltop and Gargantua and Captain G, and see what if there's any more amendments we want to do going forward. Thanks for watching, folks. It's been a lot of fun, and stay tuned.